You're listening to Season 1 of By Shawneda, Natural Sisters novella, My Crowning Glory, Chapter 14. Anisa. Wilson's voice sent chills up and down my arm. After a great weekend with my girls, he'd started the text messages, voicemails, emails, and flowers again. All week, I'd managed to avoid him. In my gut, I knew he'd try to corner me somewhere he thought I'd be forced to talk to him. This boy knew so little about me. Anisa, are you serious? This is my job, Wilson. You know better than to bring drama to my office. Just leave. You're starting to embarrass yourself. No longer able to convince myself he was sane, I backed up into the lobby of the building. I don't care if I embarrass myself. I love you, Anisa. We belong together, and I'm not gonna allow one mistake to keep us from each other. Yes, I slept with Zoe, but that just means she was never your friend to begin with, or she wouldn't have slept with me. You're used to denying yourself. This is new for me. We've been together for 4 years. You don't want to throw that away because of one mistake. He reached for me. Are you on crack? Yes. Yes, I do. Zoe and I weren't in a romantic relationship. I've known her for 15 years. You, on the other hand, claimed to want to marry me while you were banging one of my friends. If that is any implication of how our marriage would be, you can take that ring and shove it up your... Leave me alone, Wilson. The pepper spray in the bottom of my purse felt farther away than the 22 on my dashboard. You expect me to believe you choose her over all of this? Me? What we had? Wilson looked around with a wild look in his eyes. You got it. I backed into the wall between the front hallway and security checkpoint. No, let's go somewhere and talk. I'm not going to let you do this to me. To us. Wilson leaned forward and grabbed at my arm. A yelp escaped before I could compose myself. I'm not sure if you're aware, but you've almost crossed from pathetic to crazy. Just leave before I have to get papers drawn on you. Who is us? No we, no us, no nothing. Nada, zip. It is over. Wilson stood and straightened his wrinkled shirt. He licked his pinky and smoothed his wild eyebrows. As soon as he took a step back, I exhaled. You think you're breaking up with me? But who cheated on whom? I moved on before you decided to cut your hair and go back 5 decades and join the nappy hair brigade. Maybe, but I'd rather be alone with my kinks and curls than chained down to someone insecure and lazy. Go ahead and convince yourself you cut me loose. You better hope I'm still in love with you when you cut all that pretty hair off and no one wants to get with a pickaninny primped fake princess. I also don't want a thunder-stealing, interloping, low self-esteem punk who can't take a hint. I cleared my throat and crossed my arms. Ain't no man gonna want you with a Brillo pad growing from your scalp. Prickly bumps covered my arms and neck as he laughed. I'll take no man over a boy who isn't able to see I'm worth more than lying to. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to go to my car. Anisa, please. Don't do this to us. I don't care how your hair looks. The thought of you being with someone else eats me up inside. Don't you think you owe me something for waiting all this time? I mean, it was only one slip. One. He sniffed. This fool was not about to cry. What pissed me off is that he wasn't crying because he loved me. The thought of someone else being my first brought this narcissistic fool to tears. I'd never known such a strong desire to be near my gun. Wilson, you've moved from annoying to a nuisance. A complaint for harassment will not look good on your record down at the county. Fine, go ahead with your little empty life. See if I care. Plenty more chicks, finer, thicker, and more successful than you who want to get with all of this, and I won't have to wait until our wedding night. I can walk out of this building, stop at the lounge near the business district, pick out the baddest chick in the place, and get the draws tonight. Wilson took a step toward me. Then do it. No one, especially me, wants to stop you. Have fun and strap up. Cute and crazy come contaminated these days. I threw up the peace sign. Miss Links? Roger, the security guard stepped through the hallway to the checkpoint. Everything all right? I think so. Wilson was just leaving. My shoulders relaxed, and I stopped trying to inch my purse open to retrieve my pepper spray. "What's up, bruh? Just walking my lady to the car. Rent-a-cop not required." Wilson chuckled. "It's not dark, so a flashlight is not required." Roger reached for his standard issued 9mm. I'm not sure what that means, but I assure you I won't be returning to my post until you're gone, or Miss Lynx informs me she no longer needs my services. Would you like me to leave, Miss Lynx? No, I'm not comfortable being alone with Mr. Green and have asked for him to leave the premises. He was just saying goodbye before you checked in on me. My feet moved closer to Roger. Cool, that's how you want it, Anisa? Don't say I didn't warn you when dudes run from you like the plague, when your hair is sticking up all over your head like the bride of Frankenstein. Wilson backed up toward the door. Call me when you come to your senses. The wall caught me as I sighed when he walked out of the doors. Glad that is over. Thank you, Roger. I'm not sure he would have left if you didn't show up. My pleasure. I hope you know how wrong he is. Any man who doesn't want to be with you because of how you decide to wear your hair is a fool. Roger smiled and returned to the security station. My eyes followed his muscular frame as my pulse returned to normal. Nothing would bring me greater pleasure than to tell my dad how Wilson conducted himself, but I knew the best thing I could do was never contact him again. The walk to my car seemed quick as I hummed Beyonce's Best Thing I Never Had. Maya, Mom, and Dad sat across from me at the best table in Natalia's, where people could get a good look at my godmother. Several people stopped to request autographs and pictures to post on Facebook. She smiled and nodded before she realized we'd never be able to finish our meals if we stayed. Dad raised his hand and requested a more private booth or table. The maitre d' obliged. We settled into a booth with my aunt seated next to the wall beside me. Thank you, Mitchell. I wasn't sure those people were aware that the rumbling they heard was my stomach. My godmother chuckled. Yes, things were about to get real interesting when our food arrived. Dad smiled as he enjoyed a piece of bread. 20 years on the air. How does that feel? I can hardly believe we've been out of school that long. But I know it's true. My mom chuckled. Yes, it has been a long time, but it has all been worth it. Maybe next year I can get those exclusive entertainer and other personal interview specials inked into my contract so I can start putting together my exit strategy. Wow, you want to retire? The thought my godmother wanted to leave television never occurred to me. I assumed you would be on the air long as Monica Kaufman or longer. You love what you do so much. I do, but I'd rather be behind the camera if I'm going to continue to work beyond the 25-year mark. No one wants to be the old broad on the newscast, and most viewers don't want to watch the old broad on the newscast. My time has been limited producing spots, but I'm hoping that will change with the new contract agreements. A hopeful smile covered her face. Good plan, Maya. I'm sure everything will work out to your benefit. You've been a great asset to that station. They'd be remiss to let you take all your experience and talent somewhere else. My mom smiled. That is what I think. My godmother placed a ginger hand on my arm. Time to go to the ladies' room. Phyllis, you sit this one out. I'm going to enjoy walking across this restaurant, pretending all the men are staring at me instead of Anisa. My folks chuckled as we exited the booth. So how many men do you think will check us out on this little trek? I tried not to look around. Just enough to make us blush like proper ladies. My godmother gave a playful slap to my arm as we entered into the bathroom. You look well for a woman who hasn't had a boyfriend for the first time in 4 years because he slept with a friend. What is your secret? Drunken bouts of prank phone calls? Her laugh reminded me of wind chimes. I thought YouTube video didn't process through. I need to double check my channel when I get home. All I need is for Janie or someone from FHF to get a hold to that video. I'm kidding, Anisa. You may need to delete that when you get home. So you're not doing okay with the breakup? Pity to waste any good energy on a slick character like Wilson. He hugged me at your graduation party, and I was sure I'd be able to slide to my car instead of walk. She placed an arm around my shoulder. You holding up after losing Zoe? We're okay. No long phone conversations or anything, but I can be in the same space as her without wanting to claw her eyes out. I was more hurt than angry. She made amends and I decided to give her a chance. How many childhood friendships go into adulthood with only one infraction? Good for you. People are human. Only when we forgive each other are we close to divine. Sounds as though FHF is giving you a run for your money, too. I talked to Janie. The higher ups seem impressed with you. They think she was saving you under a rock to make a good impression the last year before her review for promotion. It's not like that. I've been preparing for this presentation and I think it'll go great. Just need to make sure that I've gotten all the I's dotted and T's crossed. No one wants to make a good impression more than me. My career, starting with a bang or a thud, rides on this one event. The smile on my face ignored the bundle of nerves in my belly. You keep your head up. No one is more equipped to handle those stiffs at FHF as you. And you look good doing it. Make sure you text me after your presentation so we can celebrate. I have a really good feeling about it. My godmother pecked me on the cheek. Now let's go eat. I saw two unattached young men giving you a thorough once-over on the walk into the bathroom. I want them to see that you're just as cute on the other side. You're too much. The last thing I need now is a relationship. I like to take a break between breakups. That way, the next guy isn't paying the invoice from the last one. I winked. Oh God, Mommy has taught you well, Donut. No way you could have prepared me for what I encountered when I sat next to Portia when Ebony walked into the diner. In the last 2 weekends, I'd missed hanging out with the girls. This girl cut all her hair off. Not just a few inches, but short almost to the nape in the cutest, but the shortest style I've seen on anyone in Macon. A smile as wide as the Mississippi River popped up on her face. Before you say a word, just give it a chance, then tell me how much you hate it. Ebony covered her face. Girl, please, you know you look amazing. You've always been pretty, Ebony, but now you have the model look to go with the model body. My goodness, who knew all that gorgeousness was hiding under all of those weaves and wigs? Portia smiled. Yes, it is pretty interesting. This designer asked me to do her fashion show, and I've had a few people interested in me doing some hair modeling. Feels weird. All I wanted was to rock the style of that model from For Sisters Only, and now I'm getting mad opportunities. I love my hair like this too, because when I decide I want some hair flip action, I just throw on one of my wigs. Ebony rubbed her hand over her short do. Crazy, huh? Oh my goodness. Do we have a supermodel gracing us with her presence? Is that you, Tyra? Zoe gave everyone a hug before she sat next to Ebony. True to her word, she'd been a new person since For Sisters Only. No one could have told me she'd become the sweet, open, supportive Zoe we loved before that creep broke her heart. Now she was back, and all it took was for her to sleep with my ex-almost fiance. I don't think I'd trade the difference. Best thing that happened to our little group was her deciding to forget who she was long enough to sleep with someone who she didn't even like enough to speak to in public. My mother said their animosity toward each other was an indication they had the hots for each other. That didn't make sense because Wilson was out of sorts with all of my crew, including Portia, and she hated his guts beyond festivity. You look really cute, Ebony. I'm glad y'all are loving the natural look, but just know, I'm going to keep slapping these relaxers in my hair as long as fat meat is greasy. It doesn't burn, I can get a comb through it, and I like my straight hair better. Zoe shrugged. I told you, I'm not turning into the natural hair brigade or even going to buy one of those shirts telling women what to do with their hair. This has always been my decision. I'm feeling some kind of way about Ebony doing the big chop before me, though. Can't pinpoint what way it is, but I'm feeling some kind of way. I can only imagine. After the way I treated you, I almost didn't go through with it. I have no words for how bad I felt when I realized how sometimey I acted. Joning on those girls at the club one moment and then telling you I love your hair the next. It must have been awful. It wasn't easy, but I'm cool. The one thing Tanya reminded me about each hair visit was that I have to do this for myself. Own it. Make being natural what I do because it is what I want and no one else. I sighed. Of course that sounds good, but I still don't know when I'm going to do it. Excited as I am to finally cut off the relaxer, part of me is pretty scared. Well, I'm looking forward to see when you finally take it off. Your new growth is almost 6 months strong, and I'm sure you'll be able to do some of those twist styles, flower pot spots, and a lot more than I can since I took it so low. I would never have been confident enough to do this if you hadn't started your natural process first, Anisa. Ebony Blue and Air Kiss. Thank you, darling. I hope you enjoyed My Crowning Glory, Chapter 14, written and read by Shawneda. Up next is Chapter 15.